Hi friends. Oh, let me fix this camera. Oh. Good morning. Let's see. Today is Friday. Hannah, I'm just talking to our friends on Facebook. That's all. It's okay. Today is Friday, and I thought that I would do a little Facebook Live talking about my houseplants. First of all, I don't know if any of you really are learning anything from my videos, or if we're just having friendly chat, which is really what I want, because here we are in still a pandemic situation. We can't be together the way we normally are, and so I am really enjoying reaching out and chatting via Facebook Lives, and so I hope you do too. And also I'm really enjoying putting together little videos and little different things. Hi Beth, good to see you. Just to connect with you guys, show you what I'm doing. And again, I'm under no pretense that I'm an expert at anything that I put on here. But what I want to do is just open up a conversation, connect with you, my friends around the country. My daughter-in-law just logged in. It's good to see you, Beth. And other friends and folks who we can't get together normally. And so that's why I'm doing Facebook Lives more often. I'm also going to be creating a YouTube channel for Harmony Hills Home and Garden. I have a blog that I created about 5 years ago, and it's been vacant and empty. My blog has been pretty inactive for a couple of years. Running an operation on a blog is very time consuming and can be all encompassing, and it can take over your life. If you want to be a successful blogger, then you have to do the Instagram thing, you have to have a Facebook presence, you have to these days even have TikTok and things like that. All the social media that goes along with running a successful blog. And I found that to be a little bit overwhelming, and also I got involved in other things through Sweet Adelines, and so it was hard for me to keep my blog going. So I don't know if the blog is going to be really maintained and updated. I might just draw that down. But YouTube is what I'm going to be focusing on, YouTube and Facebook. So if you like interacting with me on these sorts of things, you can keep yourself aware of the Facebook channel, and the YouTube channel will be coming up soon. I don't have any videos out on it yet. I did create the channel this morning, but I'll let you know. I'll link them here when there are YouTube videos ready to go. I'm really enjoying the new medium of video. During the pandemic, through my singing stuff in Sweet Adelines, we've been doing a lot of work on video, and I am really enjoying the process of learning how to edit videos and how to capture good videos when all you have is a cell phone and a ring light, which is what I've got. The sum total of my investment in my video recording is my cell phone and a ring light. So I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I hope that you do too. So today, houseplants. So I bought 2 new houseplants at Lowe's the other day. This one is called Asterisk Ivy. It's a little ivy. It's got an interesting leaf shape to me. I've never grown this ivy before. What I have in mind is that I'll let it get a little bit bushy, and then I'll try to train it over some sort of topiary thing. But it has to grow up and get a little bit bigger before I really want to do that. I want to have a pretty house plant that's a nice mounded ivy, maybe a little bit of, let the trails start to grow. And then in a few months, or I don't know how long it's going to take. I'm learning as I go here. But I'm going to let this grow into a bushy thing with some trailing things coming down, and then I'll put it in a bigger pot and put some sort of topiary form on top of it and have it grow up the topiary form. That's my grand plan. Today, I'm just going to put it in a pot that's a little bit bigger than what it came in. This is, what, a 3-inch pot. I'm going to put it in something just a little bit bigger than this so that it has room to spread its roots and get into a bushier plant, and let it grow on a little bit. Okay, and then the other thing that I bought was this. This is a Jenny Craig Dracaena. A lot of us in the garden outside, we use Dracaena spikes in our planters, and they are the tall, spiky, grassy looking things. This is in the same Dracaena family, but it is looks more like a pineapple top, doesn't it? This calls for low to high light, so it can take pretty much any light situation. It'll grow faster if it gets more light. It'll grow slower if it gets low light. I really liked how healthy and green this was. By the way, this is the time in the United States to be going to your garden center, even your grocery store. Lots of, the DIY stores like Home Depot or Lowe's. The houseplant stock has just last week been refilled. A lot of these come from the same company, and the company's name is Costa Farms. So Costa Farms supplies a lot of the houseplants in the United States. And I found Costa Farms plants at the Safeway, at the Giant, those are grocery stores. I found them at Home Depot, I found them at Lowe's. I could find them in the garden center if I can get myself out to a garden center. So there's a lot of places where you can get good, fresh, healthy houseplants this time of year. So anyway, this one is Dracaena, and its name is Janet Craig. I said Jenny Craig earlier, but it's Janet Craig. And so this is the second one that I bought. And then the third one that I'm working on today is, I've had this one for like 6 or 7 years. I never potted it up into a bigger pot. This is what it came in, a little 4-inch pot here. And let's see. I don't know what it is. It's just called 4-inch foliage. It's really thick leaves. It's not quite succulent, but they're really thick and hardy leaves. Grows on a trailing vine. It might be related to pothos. It might be a type of pothos. I'm not sure. So I'm going to be potting this one up into a bigger pot and letting it actually spread its roots, because I've had it in this pot forever. I had set it down inside this decorative planter, but I never potted it into it for real. And so what has happened, you'll be able to see, it has grown really root bound. Actually, that's not terrible, but it really hasn't put on any growth. I've had it for like 7 years. I mean, it's still alive, but I wouldn't call it thriving. It's just kind of, it grows maybe an inch a year, maybe puts on 1 or 2 new leaves per year. I'm sorry, I'm going in and out of the camera this way because I've got my camera turned around so that it's not mirror image for you, so that you see my kitchen in actually the orientation that it is. Anyway, so this one's getting potted up into this pot, which I just purchased the other day. So that's going to give it lots of nice room to grow. It's like twice its width. So that's going to be beautiful there. And then I'm going to take this pot and put this ivy into it. And then I'm going to put this new Dracaena into this lovely new pot that I bought. Okay, so that's the plan for today. So I want to talk to you about this exciting, it's not the right word, but this fun new tool that I bought for myself. This is called Tidy Tray. This is the sticker that was in the bottom of it. It's a plastic tray that you put on your tabletop, and it contains the dirt so that your mess is lower and easier to clean up. So I purchased this on Amazon recently. It's from Garland, is the company, garlandproducts.com, where you could get it. It's made in England. I ordered it on Amazon, and I'm going to be getting a lot of use out of this because in the summertime I can take this and put it on the cabinet that's on the side porch and use it as a potting bench without getting my cabinet all messy. And in the winter time, I can use it indoors on my kitchen island and not have my whole kitchen have dirt all over it. So I'm really excited about this new Tidy Tray is what it's called. It was like $57 on Amazon. You could probably find it in a home center near you, maybe in stock in person, and pay a little bit less because it won't have to be shipped. So that's what I'm using today on the counter. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about is I got this bucket at the Dollar Tree. So it was $1 for this bucket. It's kind of, flexible. It's not the highest quality bucket you ever saw. But this is what I use to carry my potting soil up from the basement. So in here, I've got potting soil mix already here. And this is just, I believe it's Miracle Grow brand. It comes in a big yellow bag, and it's already got it's got peat moss and vermiculite, and it's already got fertilizer in here because it's Miracle Grow brand. So this will be a good, just general use potting mix for putting my new plants into their containers. I have already watered this soil, and so it's starting out already moist, and you can see that when I squeeze it into a ball, it stays in a ball, and then it's really easily crumbles. So that is just the right amount of moisture to have your potting soil. Now, why did I not start out with dry potting soil? Well, because that makes it just that much harder to water the plant the first time you put it in the pot. So having your soil already moist will make watering so much easier from here forward, especially for plants that like moist soil. You want to keep your soil evenly moist. So start with your potting soil already moistened. Okay, so now you probably know how to pot up a plant, so this is not going to be news for any of you. This pot where I'm going to put the ivy does have a drainage hole on the side and it spills out into this saucer. So drainage is already taken care of there. So it's got dirt in its hole, but that'll wash out as it's needed. So I'm just going to take this out of its pot. This one happens to have this little wicking string in the bottom, and that's how you could set it in a saucer of water, and then the string will wick up the water into the plant and make it easier to keep moist. But I'm not going to leave that in here. I'm just going to put it in this soil. So this plant is pretty healthy. It's not root bound, but it does have some roots on the side. So I'm just going to free those up a little bit. You know what? I should have started putting my soil in here first. So I'm just going to put some soil in the bottom. It does have a drainage hole. I want to preserve the height of the plant. I don't want to bury the crown of this plant. So I want the new potting soil to be at the same level, so I need to kind of test and make sure. So I'm just going to make a little room in there so that when I set it down in there, that my new soil that goes around it will be at the same level as the original pot. And the other thing is I'm going to keep it down below the lip of the plant because I don't want the water to run out when I water it later. So I just hold these little leaves up like this, these little strands, and I just fill in the sides with potting soil, and look how the potting soil that is falling out is going into my tidy tray and not onto my kitchen island, so that makes me happy. I'm just going to tuck it down in there gently. You're not going to really mash it. You don't want it to be like concrete in there, but you do want it to be firm up against all those roots. So just gently firming it down there, and again keeping the soil level the same as it was in the cup that it came in. Okay, so I'm not covering the crown of the plant. I'm letting the new soil be at the same level as the old soil. All right, and clean off the edges. And I believe that is done. So I have a great sized pot for the new plant. It's just a little bit bigger than the old pot. And so that'll give the roots some room to grow. Then I'll be able to, I'll probably start by clipping some of these runners off and let it grow into a bushier plant first. And then once it's nice and bushy, I'll let the runners grow out. And then I'll pot it up into a bigger pot and put a topiary form on it and let it grow on. Okay, and then the last step, well, I mean, you could clean it off. I do have a wet paper towel around here somewhere. Thought I did. I guess I don't. I do have this kitchen towel around here. I could clean the dirt off and make it look a little bit nicer. And then I have my water. Now this water, I got it out of the tap, the kitchen tap, so it's straight out of the faucet. But I made it warm, not hot, but like lukewarm, kind of like 70 to 80 degrees, and that'll help the roots not be shocked. So I'm just going to water in. And this pot does have drainage, so the extra water will run out. And watering in lets the soil go up against the roots and get settled nicely, so there's no air pockets that would dry out the roots. So I'm watering that in nicely. Okay. And now I could be done, but I do have a little extra step that I want to try, and that is moss. I'm going to take some of this sheet moss and use it to cover up the soil in this pot. It just adds a little bit of a finishing touch, makes it look a little less ragged. Just that extra special touch to kind of elevate the look of the pot. We'll just tuck it around there. In the past, I've used this sheet moss on a project, and as I watered the plants, it actually sprouted new moss. So that was kind of interesting. Okay, so there we have it. This plant has been potted up. I've got a nice layer of moss covering up that dirt, and this one is ready to go. I'll clean a little bit of the rest of that dirt off. Okay, so this one's done. Set it right there. Okay. My next one that I'm going to do is I'm going to pot up this old plant into this new pot. Now this one again has a drainage hole and it has a saucer built into it, so that's nice. I'm going to start by putting my soil in there. Actually, you know what I like to do so that the soil doesn't run down the drainage hole? I like to take a piece of paper towel and cover that up. So let me get that. Just take a little square paper towel and put that down in the bottom. And what that does is it allows the water to run out if there's too much water in there, but it keeps the soil in the pot. And I do that with my outside containers as well because I don't like my soil running out with the water that overflows. All right, now I'm just filling the bottom with a little bit of soil, and I'm just going to make sure again that I'm not going to be drowning, covering up the crown of the plant, so I need to make a little bit more room in there. Okay, so put that in there. So now the plant is going to be equal level with the new soil. Put the new soil in around. Same process. This one has a little bit of a, the leaves are getting dirty as I do this, so there's going to be a little bit of cleaning the leaves off that I'm going to need to do. I find that this plant, I had this plant in the master bathroom vanity for the last 5 years. Before that I had it, when we lived in Raleigh, I had it on the kitchen counter. But when I have it in the bathroom, I find that it does get hairspray on it, on the leaves. And so every once in a while I have to take a wet towel and scrub the leaves clean to get the hairspray off because, you know, plants do exchange CO2 and oxygen through their leaves as well as their roots. And so, I don't know about the roots and the CO2, but I know that, anyway, the leaves they need to have the pores of the leaves open and not blocked so that it can be a healthy plant. So, if you have a plant that's covered with hairspray, that might not be the best thing for your poor plant. All right, so I've got this one tucked into dirt. Again, the dirt is not higher than the crown of the plant. Something's happening very exciting out front. I don't know what that is. Oh, we must have gotten a package. I think we got an Amazon delivery and the dogs are telling me about it. Okay, so the plant's in there. I kept the new soil at the same level as the old soil, and now it's got a bigger pot to grow its roots into. We'll start to see some new growth on this plant. It'll maybe get a little bit brighter green because it'll be happier with its nutrients that was in this potting mix. Now, if you're using potting mix that doesn't already have fertilizer in it, then you're going to want to get a houseplant fertilizer and follow the instructions on the container and fertilize your houseplants as it says to. Now in the winter, your houseplants don't need as much fertilizer as they do during the summer, so maybe once a month in the winter, and in the summer more like every other week, every 2 weeks. Okay, so the same thing, I'm going to put some moss on the top of this soil so that it kind of pretties up the look of the pot a little bit, just to give a little finishing touch to the display in your home, make it a little nicer. Just tuck it in there, you know, just tear it apart with your hands and tuck it right in there. So my tidy tray is working really well so far. I've got a big pile of junk over here that would be on my kitchen counter if I didn't have the tidy tray, so I'm happy about that. I do have a little bit of run over right here in front, but that's because I'm working right at the front of the tidy tray. And if I would move this, then I would have more room to, you know, be a little cleaner with my mess. All right, so there we go. So again, I need to clean off the dirt off the side. Take care of that, get that cleaned off. And now that's a nice little new pot. I'll water it in. and it'll be good to go. Here we go. Any extra water will run out into the saucer. And into the tidy tray. These leaves do hold water, so sometimes you can clean them off like that. All right, so this one, I'm going to dump out the extra water that, nope, there wasn't any extra water that ran through. So this one's done. I do need to get a little bit of the dirt off of the leaves there. Okay, so I've got one more to do here. I'm going to take care of this real quick. Oh, I got some on the floor too. Okay, there we go. Now this planter does have a drainage hole. It's currently plugged up with a plastic plug. But the thing is, I love the look of this planter, and I don't want to have to set it on a saucer. I think the saucer would take away from the look of the planter. Now, so I'm not going to unplug this hole. I'm going to let it stay plugged up, and I'm going to let it not have a drainage hole. But what that means is I need to be very careful about not overwatering this plant. If I find that the plant starts to suffer from being too wet, then I will unplug it, because you pull the plug out from the bottom. And so that will be an easy solution. But for the looks of it, I'd like it to not have to sit on a saucer. So I'm going to leave the hole plugged up. But again, when you do that, you have to make sure you're not overwatering. So it takes a little bit more TLC when you do it that way. All right, so I'm just going to put some soil in the bottom here. And then get my plant here. Again, this had the wicking string on it. I'm not going to keep that in the setup here. Okay, this one has some pretty circular roots on it, so I'm going to loosen those up so that they don't stay all in that form. Okay, let them have a little growth. All right, set that down in there. Again, I don't want to cover the crown of the plant, so I'm going to let it be in the pot in a way that the new soil is just going to go up to the same level as the old soil. And just put that in there. I'm learning that I should not wear long sleeves when I'm working with soil inside the house. I probably could have predicted that, but here we are. It's winter, so I'm cold, so I'm wearing long sleeves. Okay, so this is a bigger pot, so it's taking a lot more soil. And I'm just tucking it down in there. I'm not mashing it, not making it solid, but I'm leaving it somewhat firm against the roots of the plant. Tuck it in. As you tuck, the plant might be pulled to go one way or the other, so I'm just taking a little bit of care to make sure that the center stalk of the plant is centered on the pot so that it's aesthetically pleasing. Turning it around, making sure I'm getting plenty of soil in there, not covering the the crown of the plant, making sure that the crown doesn't get buried. Here's a dead leaf. I'm going to just pull that right off, set that aside. But otherwise, that's the only bad leaf on this plant, so this is a really healthy looking houseplant. It's brand new from the home center. Hi Judy, it's good to see you. So again, this is nothing new. All of you know how to repot houseplants, but I like interacting with you. I like talking with you and sharing. During this time of isolation, it can get a little, isolated. So let's be together in the ways that technology allows us to be together. Brave woman repotting in a white sweater. Yeah, I just learned that was probably a bad idea. Do what you gotta do, right? So, all right, so this one is now in the pot. The soil is firm around it. It's not covering the crown. And there's about a 1/2 inch between the soil level and the top of the pot, so I won't have any trouble with water running out when I water. Okay, so I'm going to put some moss, again, just covering the soil with some moss. You don't have to do this. You could also, instead of moss, if you wanted to cover your soil, you could use pebbles, or you could use glass marbles. Some people do that. you know, or you don't have to do anything at all. You could just look at your dirt and that will actually tell you when it's time to water, easier than having all this moss in here. But the moss, I think, also does act as a little bit of a mulch, and it keeps the soil from drying out on the top. Okay, so there we go. Now I just have to clean off the dirt off the side and water it in. Now again, I don't have a drainage hole in this pot, so I'm going to take care that I don't overwater. And as I said before, I started with moist soil, so this first watering in really doesn't need a lot of water. And I'm just going to always be careful to test the soil moistness, make sure that it's not too wet in there. So there you have it. So a new, hey look, there's my wet paper towel that I was looking for earlier. My new planted pots. These are going to look really nice in the living room after I get the Christmas stuff taken down. I still have Christmas decorations up in my house. I took them down out of the TV room on Wednesday because I was watching the inauguration all day on Wednesday, and I thought I just can't sit here on the sofa all day and do nothing. So I did take down Christmas in the TV room on Wednesday, but I have Christmas everywhere else in the house. You can still see over here my Santas on the back door, the cookie jar and the baker Santa and the chocolate mold Santa, which by the way is plastic, of course. But it is time to take down the Christmas, I think. It served its purpose. It kept me feeling happy and content during the last few weeks, which were, well, in the news there have been some hard to handle things. And having the Christmas decorations in my house still was a real comfort to me. And so that's why I left them up. But I think it's okay to take them down now. Things in the news have settled down a little bit and it's not quite so stressful. And so I think this weekend Christmas is coming down. What I'm doing right now, I'm just cleaning off the leaves because when it came, maybe you can see, I'll hold this up. When this came from the nursery, these leaves had clearly been watered from the top with a sprayer. And so some of them have water spots on them or even dried soil, dirt, and so forth. So maybe over here on the left side, you can see the water spots on some of those leaves. Yeah, those. And then over here is where I've started to clean some. So I'm just going to make this look a little nicer and give the leaves a fighting chance at their photosynthesis job and their oxygen exchange job. So clean those off, mainly because it looks nicer. Because I just bought this plant. I don't want it to look weird right out of the gate. So I'll finish this up later, but anyway, so that needs to be done. And I'm just now noticing that the whole plant seems to be leaning this way. As I turn it around, you can see that it does seem to have a front and a back. So I can tamp down this side a little bit more. So now it's a little bit more upright. Okay, yeah, there we go. That's better. So that's my task for the day. I thought I would share with you this tidy tray. Really is a cool product. Again, I got mine on Amazon. You could probably find it in other places. It's called Tidy Tray by garlandproducts.com. It's made in England, so that website probably ships from England. I got mine on Amazon, but I know that these are sold in some garden centers and maybe other places. So just do a search and see what you can find, where you can find them. I'm going to be using this garden tray later in the day, maybe this weekend, to start some seeds, because in my zone I can start some cool season annuals inside and then put them out in March and get those going. And so yeah, that's what's happening around here. Again, just to let you know, I am starting a YouTube channel for Harmony Hills Home and Garden, and I don't have anything up on it yet, but I'll be sure to let you know when that gets going. I'm just finding it's a lot of fun to just share with you as I do the stuff around my house. I am not purporting to be an expert in anything, and if you see me doing something that is disadvantaging my plants or is not really recommended, let me know. Please tell me if I'm doing something that I shouldn't be doing. We can all learn together, and I would love to learn from your expertise as well. So it's really nice to see you all, and I hope you have a wonderful day and weekend, and we'll chat with you again in the future. Bye.